was going to use this next week in my podcast, my live podcast. Some of you may know, some of you may know. I have a Facebook Live podcast. It's called MM Talk. If you're interested, just message me just message me. I'll give you guys the link if you're interested, because I know many of you are not interested in politics or current events. I am. I like to be informed of what's going on. I've always been that way, and it's what I studied when I was in graduate school and college, both graduate and undergraduate. So that's my thing, but again, that's for another show. My friend and I discuss points. Sometimes we get a little bit out of order, so my father-in-law, with other intentions, he made me this, right, because he knows what I want to do soon. So he gave me this, but I have to use it. I have to use this tonight because I have to call a point of order. I have to call a point of order. Oh, no. You know what? Objection. A point of order, actually. Point of order. Not an objection. Where do I begin? I don't know if we should start with the Chicago Bears fans. I don't know if I should start with these analysts. I don't know where to start. I guess we'll start with the Chicago Bears fans. Look, I already thanked you, right? Excuse me 1 second. I already thanked you all for getting us into the playoffs. With some of the people I discussed, when I said you guys were going to be a dangerous team this season, and you guys became a dangerous team this season, mainly because of your defense. Okay? You guys did what you had to do. You guys played your schedule. A lot of us Eagles fans and a lot of people have been trashing you because of your schedule. They're saying you had a fourth place schedule. You had an easy road to the playoffs, similar to what we heard last year. You guys had an easy schedule. You guys really didn't play anybody. You guys had an easy road. Who have you all beaten? We heard it before. That's not my issue with all you. It became an issue, but that was not my issue with all you. My issue is the nonsense you guys are speaking now. You're the kings of the North. You're the kings of the North. My favorite comment, you're the only team in the NFL that plays out in the cold, and therefore you have an advantage against the Philadelphia Eagles this coming Sunday. Do the Philadelphia Eagles play in a closed dome? Is it not cold in Philadelphia? In fact, man, I can't access it right now. But I'm pretty sure it's cold in Philadelphia. So actually talking to some people about this. And I live in Southern California. I live in the Inland Empire. The coldest I ever experienced down here has probably been like the mid-30s. Somewhere around there. Low mid-30s, yeah. During winter. It's rare when we see snow. Usually see it up in the mountains area. So I'm not accustomed to the cold temperatures you folks have back in the East Coast. Some people laughed at me. It's like, oh yeah, he's a Philly fan living in California. He does not know how cold it is out here. Well, I unfortunately know. No, I don't. But I've never. And I always, like I said, I never bash against it because I can't. These people live in actual cold weather. I mean, it's 30 and I feel like I'm freezing. Not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is Chicago's Bear fans, please stop being delusional. Your team plays in the outside in the cold. Fantastic. Guess what? So do the Philadelphia Eagles. So do the Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry to break it to you. But we also play in the cold. There is no advantage in that. I had respect for your defense. I said, you know what, Khalil, but the more I look at it, Khalil Mack and Mr. Jackson are probably all your defense. Correct? I keep hearing that Eddie Jackson's looking at Ed Reed. I keep hearing that you have a monster defense. I've said it too. You guys have a great defense. You have a monster defense. You guys are unstoppable. You guys are scary. We should be afraid. We should not even try. Nick Foles is going to break more ribs this weekend if he plays. Where have I heard all this before? Except for the broken ribs part. I'm talking about scary defenses. We're not good enough. We don't have to stand a chance. Why should we even try? We have a backup quarterback. Oh, yeah. Last year. Last year. You want to talk about the level of disrespect? I said the level of disrespect. DISRESPECT. The level of disrespect this team is being given right now. Again. I can only tolerate so much, and today it just went like I had enough. I'm gonna start with, I'm done with you fans. You fans are just saying crazy things, okay? You know, you don't play in the cold. You really don't have a great advantage. Your offense is not that great. I was worried about your defense, but the more I look at it, the more I like our chances now. Guys, I actually dug into it. The more I look at it, the more I like our chances against your defense and our defense against your offense. Because, honestly, I'm starting to really like our chances of winning this game. And it's only going to be an upset on paper. You want to know why? Because we're the 6th seed playing against the 3rd seed. That's the only reason it's going to be even called an upset. But it shouldn't even be called an upset. It shouldn't even be called an upset. Because if you look at in December, our team, honestly, not only has played a tougher schedule, but has looked overall better and has played overall better. And not only that, it has played better than the Chicago Bears. You want some proof on that? Okay, no problem. No proof. You guys want some proof on that? Okay, broke it down a little bit. Okay, let me see here. In the month of December, the Philadelphia Eagles played the Redskins, division rival, the Cowboys, division rival, the Rams, the Texans, and the Redskins. In all of those games, the Philadelphia Eagles scored 14 touchdowns, 14 passing touchdowns, and only had between him and Wentz and Nate Sudfeld. Yeah, Nate Sudfeld came. Yeah, I have to include him in there because he played. And Nate Sudfeld threw a total of 4 interceptions. If you include those 3 rushing touchdowns they also had, we're looking at 17 touchdowns in the month of December. Look, the Cowboys, you're going to tell me we Eagles hate the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are a good team. The Cowboys won the division. Correct? If we're taking these analysts' point of view, the Cowboys are a good team because the Cowboys won their division and the Cowboys turned it around the season. And the Cowboys' acquisition of Amari Cooper proved that this team is ready to go for the next level, according to Skip Bayless, right? Okay, no problem. Let's look at the Bears. The Bears, with Chase Daniels, Mitchell Trubisky, and I'm assuming his name was Cohen, have a total of 8 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That's your offense. And who did you guys play? The New York Giants, the Rams, the Packers, the Niners, and the Vikings. Really? So you played against the 21st ranked offense, team, excuse me, and this is according to the NFL's power rankings, right? So the New York Giants, who ranked 21st, and then you played the Packers, who ranked 23rd, the 49ers, who ranked 27th, the Vikings, who ranked 16th, and the Rams, who ranked 3rd or 4th. I mean, they fluctuate between, depending on who you look at, 3rd or 4th. Let's put another thing too. Your division is terrible. Your division is terrible. And I'm not going to say our division's any better. Because our division leader, I believe, got 10-6. And we got in at 9-7 as a wild card. Right? They did what we had to do. We did what we had to do. But the Packers? The Giants? Oh, excuse me. I'm saying your division, right? The Lions? Okay. The Packers? Okay. The Vikings? Okay, we know what they do. They overpay. They overpay to what they think to make them reach the next level, but it's not happening. You know? Degree of difficulty? Really? Or do we really want to talk about it? Okay, we lose our star quarterback again. Nick Foles comes in, and not only does he have to win 3 games, he had to win 3 games, one of which, we were 13-point underdogs going to that LA game. And he went in there. He didn't score any touchdowns, but he created drives that got us touchdowns. He created drives that got us field goals. Right? The Texans? Really? 4 touchdowns against the Texans? Come on, man. Come on now. What are these analysts looking at? Not running the ball? Because we don't have over a 100-yard receiver? I'll give you that. We don't have a running back that has 100 yards. Right? But guess what? Guess what Doug Peterson referred back to? Running back by committee, right? Are you really going to get a running back with 100 yards or more many times if you're running back by committee? Why will we turn away from that? I get it. We thought that with Josh Adams a couple of weeks ago, that was no longer necessary because we weren't seeing that mass production from the other 2 running backs as well. But also you got Corey Clement that, went out with an ACL. But luckily we got Darren Sproles. So now you have Darren Sproles being productive. You have Josh Adams being productive. You have Wendell Smallwood being productive. So really, why would you change that if it's working? So what are you talking about, analysts? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We don't run the ball. Do you really need to have a running back that rushes 100 yards when you have 3 running backs that are pretty much putting you between the 100 and 130 yard range almost every game if they're balling out? They're scoring touchdowns. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? We don't play top defenses? Really? Okay, last time I checked, everybody was bragging on the Cowboys defense. Last time I checked, everybody was bragging on the Rams defense. Oh my God, they got the potential MVP candidate Aaron Donald. They got Dominic Sue. They got Talib back. Right? Everybody wanted it on paper. This is why I say it always looks good on paper. Let's see what happens when it's being executed. Everybody can score on the Rams. It's evident. I would say that we're going to be overrated. I said, no, I don't trust them because on paper it looks great. I had experience with that. Right? Remember Steve Young? Remember the Dream Team? Oh, it looked great on paper, didn't it? Look what happened with that. But we don't play top defenses? Really? Come on, man. Come on. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? Well, you want to talk about defense? Defensive play too? Okay. In the month of December, if my math's correct, and if I added up these right, it looks like the Bears defense had 8 sacks to 9 interceptions in that stretch of the month of December. And the Eagles had a total of, if I added this right, 15 sacks to 6 interceptions. So what are you talking about? We don't have no defense. What are you talking about that we're the worst team going into this tournament? I get it. It's December. Nick Foles only played 3 of those games. Carson Wentz played 2 of those games. But if we're talking about level of difficulty, right, that many of you analysts talk about, the Philadelphia Eagles in 6 weeks have turned around their season. And now they're going dangerously into the playoffs. Why are we being disrespected like this? We're the worst team? Really? Okay. It really makes no sense to me. It really makes no sense how we're the worst team going into the playoffs. You know, I was listening to, and I talked about this in this Eagles group I'm part of it today. I was listening to these analysts all week long. Started with Shannon Sharp. I love Shannon Sharp to death. There's sometimes I don't agree with him. This is going to be one of those times. Mr. Sharp, how are you going to say we don't have a consistent running game given the level of productivity these running backs have been putting in over the last 6 weeks? How does that happen? How are we having rushing touchdowns? I get it. We don't have a star runner. We don't have like the 1-star running back because, we run them by committee. But just because we do that doesn't mean we don't have an effective running game. When your running backs are averaging between 4 to 7 yards a carry, how is that not being an effective running game? That means that your second down is between 2nd and 5th and 2nd and 3rd. How's that not an effective running game? Chris Carter today, that's the one that really drove me off the hill. Chris Carter and Jenna, I think that's the chick's name, and first things first, right? Said the following, and this is not verbatim, but they asked, CC, did the Philadelphia Eagles really they never faced a top defense even when they went on the Super Bowl run, right? That question was asked today. Was Minnesota not ranked the number 1 defense at the time? Because that was the number 1 defense. The Philadelphia Eagles, that team laid 38 points on to their 7. So how are you going to tell the Philadelphia Eagles and their fans that they never faced a top-tier defense? They faced, during the regular season, they faced the Carolina Panthers. Same argument. The Denver Broncos, same argument. They dropped 50 on the Denver Broncos, who at the time was thought to be the number 1 defense before Minnesota. That's part of the Super Bowl run, right? Because you have to win in the regular season to get into the postseason, correct? They beat the Rams. Talk about impressive wins. But no, they never faced top defenses throughout that last year's Super Bowl run, right? Okay. So what does Chris Carter come to say? Oh, well, you got to understand that everybody got to get away from this myth that the Minnesota Vikings weren't really that great of a defense. They barely survived the game before. Oh, really, Chris Carter? Because I saw your tape, your analysis of that win, and you were talking about, the fans were great. You got to understand that the energy was great. The team was playing hard. They took everything to the last second. And that's how they won their game. You know, the defense got scored up, but it was a team effort, blah, 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 blah. And then you talk about the Philadelphia game, and what do you say? What did you say? Well, you know, it was just unbelievable. I mean, here comes the number 1 ranked defense, and, you know, and Philadelphia wasn't even afraid of them. The number 1 defense. The number 1 defense. If you admit to that Minnesota, I mean, if you admit in your show that Minnesota last year was the number 1 defense, how do you even answer that question today? How do you answer that question today? It makes no sense. You analysts are not making any sense. Here's what's really going on. Y'all are angry. You're angry that this team once again is in the playoffs. You're angry that you counted them out and they proved you wrong. You're angry that they actually have a better chance than you think. But you won't admit it because that's your job. You have to create controversy so you get your viewer ratings. And I get it, it's a job. It's a job. But when you say stupid things like this, right, it makes yourselves look bad. And you're going to keep looking bad. Because as I dig into these stats, as I dig into what you're saying and the contradictions, as I dig into the delusion of this Bears fan base, I am really liking our chances on Sunday. You kidding me? You kidding me? Nick Foles with that beat up offense and that beat up freaking beat up defense somehow manages to put 17 touchdowns to the Bears. To the Bears 8 in 1 month? Come on, man. And against tougher teams? Y'all are crazy. You are insane. That's all right. I'm going to keep hearing it. I'm going to keep hearing it all however long the Philadelphia Eagles are meant to be in this playoff run. I'm going to keep hearing it. I'm going to keep hearing it. If somehow the Eagles pull this off, because you got to understand it, you just can't go into Soldier Field and think you're going to get that dub. You got to play your game. You got to play it smart. You know, it's not like, let's see, who has the more experience in this before? I mean, I don't know. Mitchell Trubisky? Has Mitchell Trubisky been in the playoffs before? No. Who's been in? I mean, I don't even know how many players from that Bears team has been in the playoffs besides, I don't know, Trey Burton? Like I said, I don't know. I don't know the Bears team pretty well. Besides Trey Burton? I don't know if Khalil Mack was in that playoff run with the Raiders. When that year Eric Carr got hurt. I don't know, maybe he was. I'm not too sure. But if you look at this side and this roster, it's overwhelming, the level of experience. Overwhelming. You guys are crazy. But I'm going to keep hearing it. And then if somehow the Eagles pull off the upset, they have to go to New Orleans and face that Saints. And I can bet you, I'll bet you anything, that the point spread between 7 and 10 points. Between 7 and 10 points. Book it. Book it. Why? Because the New Orleans Saints slaughtered the Eagles earlier in the season, correct? In there? Okay. That's not the same Eagles team that was playing in December. And that's even before Carson Wentz went down. Before they started running the ball. Before Doug Peterson finally listened, that running the ball creates those long drives. And then you started creating openings in the end zone as well, and you start being effective down there instead of just kicking the ball. Okay. Okay? And then Nick Foles. I mean, what can I say? Keep disrespecting the Philadelphia Eagles, man. They're coming. They're coming. So you guys think we don't play tough teams? Okay, we don't. Whatever. It's not like we had the first place schedule and somehow managed to get into the playoffs. Once again, as the underdog, once again disrespected by saying we're the worst team, even though the teams that have gotten their seedings have not played a tougher schedule than we have. And that's with injured players in their back. We had practice squad players in our squad against prime time, against top tier wide receivers, quarterbacks, linebackers, whatever position. It was one-on-one. It was literally a backup and a practice squad player. But okay. Judgment time. It's judgment time. We're coming. We're coming. So keep disrespecting us. It only fuels us more. So with that being said, everybody, fly Eagles fly, go Birds, Chicago. I can't wait.